You've done the right thing. You've insulated your ceiling. You've insulated your underfloor. But you're still cold. Best you finish the job. And to match your walls.
As I said, for some strange reason, the Integrity Institute decided that a whole series of lobbyists needs to be exposed in this country, and that one of them they had a go at and they singled out for study is Federated Farmers, who ironically, in actual fact, are having a pretty good time at the moment, because all of the reports that are coming out of government circles, but also private circles as well, is that farming is leading the way back, that our economy is being supercharged by farming prices at the moment, particularly dairy, but that also meat and to a lesser extent wool are starting to actually make the case. Now, this has led to high butter prices, which, as you know, have received an awful lot and far too much media attention, but there you go, it's the nature of the beast. Joining us to talk about all of this and more is the President of New Zealand Federated Farmers, Wayne Langford, and he joins us now. Wayne, welcome to the show. Lovely to have you on, mate.
Good morning. Yeah, good to be here. Yep.
Were you surprised? Can I just ask you, first of all, about this lobbying story? I mean, Federated Farmers has been lobbying for, well, God, probably ever since I was a boy. You are an organisation dedicated to advancing the farming viewpoint to policymakers and politicians in Wellington. Were you surprised to find out that you're being singled out as an organisation who needs investigation and apparently are sort of on the evil and the dark side of things?
Was I surprised? Yes, I was. We are here. Our purpose is literally to provide the farmer's voice, and that's what we feel like we're doing. It is nothing evil or conspiracy theorists or anything like that. We're simply bringing the farmer's voice to the decision-making table, and so to see that and described in the way it was quite a surprise. Do we have a lot of influence? Yes, we do. But we're also a very significant part of this economy, and so that's probably quite understanding that we do.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they were suggesting was wrong was that you had an untoward influence, I think, in challenging Te Mana o Te Wai and the National Policy Statement on Freshwater Management. When was that published? I think about 2020. You can't win those arguments. I've already got somebody who says the hole in your argument from somebody called Grant is that the right tend to lobby for government for profit, whereas the left lobby for altruistic purposes, environmental welfare, humanitarian, etc. Were you lobbying purely for profit in trying to expose the inadequacies of Te Mana o Te Wai?
I actually spoke at a green conference recently, Michael, and what was interesting about that was I said the green, and I'm just referring to your statement there, not saying whether it was right or wrong. I'm just referring to it by saying the green lobby they pushed way too far. They went too far to the point where they've actually put environmental gain, or from their perspective, back. Environmental gain is still happening. It's still happening on farm. We're improving every day. We're getting far better at what we're doing and making far more farm environmental improvements. But when there's overburdensome regulation put on, when there's too much red tape, when farmers eventually get to the point where they throw their hands in the air and say, "Oh, this is rubbish. We can't do this. Like, this is crazy. We can't even farm like this." That's gone too far. And then, you know, the so-called work that's improving the environment stops. Now that's a bad place to be in, because it's not actually stopping the environmental work, but it's stopping all the paper pushing and everything that's going on to supposedly prove that we're doing it. Well, let's stop that. Let's stop all that paperwork, and let's just get on and do it. And that's what we're in there advocating for. It's not about profit or anything like that. It's about practicality and just getting it done.
Okay, so when the Integrity Institute go after you, and Newsroom in particular, I think, went after you on the basis that you had changed Te Mana o Te Wai, the suggestion was that somehow you're wrecking the environment. Your argument is, well, in actual fact, the best way to wreck the environment is to alienate farmers because they are in the front line of making the environment better. Is that the argument?
That is pretty much the argument there. Yeah, that is a real risk. Is that if you go too far, then what happens? And that's where I think particularly the Green Lobby needs to have a really good look.
So the irony would be that the Green Lobby was able to get the government to, in actual fact, put in an excessive amount of regard for the environment via the economic use of land, and now you're suggesting that there's an alternative point of view, but somehow you're the evil one, not the original left-wing lobbyists.
Am I suggesting that we're the evil
no,
one?
I mean, no, I'm just sorry. It's a sort of a rhetorical question. I mean, I know.
Yes, right.
It doesn't make any sense. Listen, the other thing, though, is that our economy is still stuffed. Well, I won't say stuffed. That's not true. It's static. But there's one exception to that, and it's you guys, the agricultural sector. Is it just dairy that's doing well at the moment, or is it across the agricultural sector in general?
Yeah, no, you brought up on your introduction too. So dairy's doing well, red meat's doing well, and you talked about wool. I would be loath to say wool's doing well, but it's showing green shoots. Our arable sector is struggling, but typically that does follow the rise of meat and wool and dairy, because they'll see their grain prices into those areas kind of increase. But there's some work to be done there. So yeah, so it is some positive times there for agriculture. We've seen it before. We saw agriculture drive us out of COVID. We saw it drive us out of the global financial crisis. It's a line I know that's thrown around a heap. That we're the backbone of the country, but to be fair, that's what we are. We're not hiding from that. We don't need to be humble about it. That it is what we are, and it's what we do, and we should be really proud of that.
Yeah, because and this is the slightly, if you don't mind saying, schizophrenic view of New Zealand, New Zealanders, and just the way our economy's based. The government are looking to you, and that is the farming sector in general, to find a pathway, not just out of the recession, but to some real degree of prosperity. So in maximising, if you like, the product that you create, selling more of it overseas, and then leading New Zealand into, well, a brighter and more productive future. On the other hand, we've got the Climate Commission, ironically another lobby group really, at the end of the day, and a whole series of other people saying, oh, no, you guys need to cut back on your production in general if the planet's going to be saved. Those two concepts don't exist in the same world, do they?
No, and that's effectively why we've asked for a real scientific review of the methane targets, and they've come out and said, hey, it's significantly different to where we were projecting. It's not 24 to 47%. It's actually looking more like 14 to 24% in terms of methane reduction targets. And by the way, because of the great work that farming's doing, we're probably going to hit 10% by 2030. Now, if we hit 10% by 2030, you don't have to be a great mathematician to know that if you got to 14% by 2050, we've got 4% to do in 20 years. That would, to me, say that agriculture is well on track to hitting our emissions targets and to doing what we need to do as a sector. In fact, we've actually got the opportunity to turn it into an opportunity for the agricultural sector as well. So we can have prosperity, and we can have a green environment and keep everyone happy. And we instead of fighting that, we all need to lean into it and be, like I say, proud of our agricultural sector, because this is what we're achieving, and ultimately it's good for everyone.
Yes, well, you would have thought so, but nonetheless, are you striking? And certainly, I'll give you the example of the Integrity Institute, who believe that you're far too powerful in terms of your lobbying. Are we striking a reaction from, well, sort of left and environmental liberal views that farming, and do you encounter it regularly, that farming is somehow iffy, evil, doesn't have good purpose at its heart? Does that frustrate you as a sector?
I mean, it is frustrating. No one likes to be shot down effectively, but that is the way it is for a lot of people. We constantly, often, are looking at the purpose behind, those making comments and what they're saying. Quite often, for example, there's a lot of complaints about animal livestock, and when you look at who's complaining, it's someone that is significantly vegan and carries vegan, attributes or thoughts. And so, of course, they're going to complain about animal agriculture, and they're going to complain about everything animal agriculture does. Now, I'm sorry, I can't change that, and they're welcome to their views, but they've also got to recognise that, that others have their own views as well, and that we've got all to live together in this place.
Wayne, a wee while ago, there was a suggestion that Federated Farmers were somehow captured by the Wellington environment as well, and weren't pushing issues as much as they needed to. Groundswell, for example, came up and was very critical of Federated Farmers for not being, I won't say militant's the wrong word, but not being strong enough in giving the message to Wellington. The Groundswell seems to have fallen away in recent months and certainly the last couple of years. Do you think that's because you have taken a more forceful approach in Wellington?
You've done the right thing. You've insulated your ceiling. You've insulated your underfloor. But you're still cold. Best you finish the job. And to match your walls.